today we're putting a bow on the NFL draft for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Some players obviously got signed after, some players got drafted. We're starting with Jordan Van Den Berg, who wasn't expected to be drafted. But again, he had a strong pro day. We really showcased what he could do, did excellent on the bench. And Chicago really liked what they ended up seeing from him. Now, he was obviously had teams like the Eagles, I think it was the Bills at one point, all contacting him. But this is really good for Van Den Berg because he can go to a team that really needs defensive help. With how good he is on the interior and the inside, how nasty he can obviously be, how forceful he is, there's definitely going to be opportunities for Jordan Van Den Berg to be able to just carve out a role with the Chicago Bears as they try to retool their defense. They know they have the quarterback in place, reached new heights last year. So Jordan Van Den Berg is really going to a good spot in a team that's trying to take that next step forward. So I think this was a great selection. And obviously Jordan Van Den Berg is another one that shows, hey, we can get drafted. You can come here and develop coming over from Penn State, and look what happened. He ended up going. Now, some fans would be like, well, Najeh, you're talking about Georgia Tech only had 2 players drafted, but still, there's a lot of progress in this draft for Georgia Tech. 2 players drafted, one in the first round that nobody thought about. A lot of people had Keelan Rose going to the second round. And now a guy like Jordan Van Den Berg who can continue to put Georgia Tech on the map. Same with Keelan Rutledge. Massive selection for him and a guy that just does things the right way. All right, next you had the signees, right? Now, this one was no surprise, right? He was continuing being mocked to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And let's be honest, they need wide receiver help. After Mike Evans left for San Francisco this past offseason, they need all the help they can get. You still got, obviously, Chris Godwin. I believe they still have Tej Johnson, if I'm not mistaken. But Tampa Bay's going to need a guy like this that can obviously help them not only offensively, but also in the return game. That is what Eric Rivers brings to this table. And we've seen that late in the season, he can make those big-time plays, those 50-50 ball catches, those break away from the defense on third down, and ability to make the high-level catches on fourth down. So this is a great signing for him. Unfortunately, didn't get drafted by him, but they liked him enough to sign him. So he has a great opportunity here to make something of himself. And then you have Malik Rutherford. This is a great pairing. It was interesting to see what the Falcons were going to do. How many Georgia Tech players they were going to obviously sign. Haynes King was obviously one. Van Den Berg was another one linked to him. Amari Harvey was another one linked to him. We didn't hear too much on the Malik Rutherford front, but I love this pickup for him. Now, they drafted, obviously, Zachariah Branch in the 4th round. Rutherford, you have a great opportunity to stay in the city, obviously go play for Atlanta, and you have the ability to, you're not going for minicamp. They signed you. So you have the ability to go showcase your talent. And to be honest, Atlanta needs a guy like this. Someone that can do some of the dirty work, who's great with the ball after the catch. And on those key downs, hey, we need a slot to go to. We need somebody over in the middle that can get that catch. This is what Malik Rutherford does, man. He's a great deep threat as well, and he's also obviously very dependable, and his drop rate last year was very low. Like, you look at how many balls that he dropped, he's very consistent and very sure-handed receiver. Great pickup for the Falcons. And then you have the biggest star of them all, the ACC Offensive Player of the Year and Player of the Year, Haynes King, right? Now, this situation, right, he gets to go learn. I would have said the Falcons, obviously, situation would have been better because there's a possibility with both of those guys always being hurt. Tua Tagovailoa, Michael Penix, Haynes King can go and potentially play early and often. Like Carolina, he'll probably have to sit a while now that obviously Bryce Young has established himself as the guy. But he can still go in there and learn, obviously, from those guys and continue to develop and obviously grow. So, undrafted free agent. But Haynes King is obviously ACC Player of the Year for a reason. He was the epitome of Georgia Tech football and the rebuild that they had the past 3 seasons. So, I think it's a great opportunity for him to get to learn pro-level offense and continue to build and kind of see, what it'll look like, for the future. He might not always be at Carolina. This could be a situation where he goes and he learns for the first couple of years, and an opportunity can present itself for potentially King down the line. So, not a bad pairing, but I would have preferred the Falcons because there was more room there potentially for him to go and even play and be that third-string quarterback. When I say third string, that's just starting out with those two, with Tagovailoa and obviously Penix, but you never know with those two. And if King is there and he's available, he could be the QB future of the Falcons. But he's going to the Panthers. Next up, Amari Harvey. I actually love this pickup, and I actually love that he's going to Denver because he gets to learn from some elite DBs. This is excellent. Probably not a better landing spot for Amari Harvey, right? Pat Surtain, Defensive Player of the Year, one of the best corners in the game. You get to learn from him and continue to add to your bag. And then you got obviously Najeh Barron, who obviously came in as a rookie and put on a show. So you got a lot of guys you can learn from. And it'll be interesting to see the role that they obviously have for him and what he's able to carve out year one. But going to Denver couldn't be better for his career, in my humble opinion, because he gets to learn from some of the great players in the game right now at the defensive back role. Now, whatever position he plays, boundary, slot, safety, whatever that may be, he's still going to get to learn from a lot of guys. So I think Amari Harvey should be definitely excited about this. Definitely has a position for him, and he could definitely continue to build with a really great organization that was on the brink of making the Super Bowl last year if their quarterback Bo Nix doesn't get hurt. Next up for my Bengals, Jamal Haynes. I actually like this pickup for us as well. Now, when we look at obviously our backfield, right, we got Chase Brown, right, Tajay Brooks, who we selected last year. But there's still a lot of room and opportunity for us. We still need a kick returner really bad, right? We need a guy that can be a kick returner or punt returner. I think Jamal Haynes can easily fill that role for us. I also believe that he could probably be our running back 3 when it's said and done. Now, again, that's not to throw salt on him. I love Jamal Haynes. I'm just saying I believe there is a pathway for him to obviously make our team. Now, it just depends what the coaches see and obviously how well he's able to play in the preseason and all that good stuff in camp and things like that. But we could use another, obviously, running back and to kind of help out Chase Brown. And we still looking for a guy. Obviously, we drafted Najeh Brooks, but we're looking for a guy to be like RB2 to give him a little bit of a spell, give him a little bit of time. So there is definitely great opportunity here for Jamal Haynes from my favorite team. I definitely think if he does things the right way, he can find himself on the roster. Next up, obviously, now these are camp invites. This is Clayton Powell-Lee. Obviously going to the Falcons. Won't be easy because obviously they have a really good back end, really good players. But, hey, you got invited to rookie camp, mini camp. Now you just have to take advantage of the opportunity, right? Be able to perform at a high level if you Clayton Powell-Lee, showcase what you can do, your intelligence, and then from that point, man, just finding a way to be able to stay on the roster, be able to show your play in preseason ball, and trying to make that 53-man roster. He was with Georgia Tech, also as well with the rebuild of this program and institution. So you got to give him a lot of credit on that back end, helping shore that up and help him, have a better unit than they had in years past. So excited to see him obviously get invited. Now, one player I forgot was Rodney Shelley. He got signed as well as an undrafted free agent for the Los Angeles Chargers. And obviously that's another great program to go to that he's going to obviously have some opportunities there. And he signed. So he's pretty much all the way through, the rest of the offseason. So if you're Rodney Shelley, take the advantage of the opportunity as much as you can. Continue to learn. There's great players there. Obviously at the Chargers, you got Derwin James. Anybody can get knowledge from at the cornerback spot and the secondary spot. Definitely try to soak it all up in, but I'm sure he will. And I'm sure he's excited for this opportunity to be able to play in the league and obviously play for the Los Angeles Chargers. He was another one that was a staple in the quarterback room, man, and continued to grow and get better not only as a player, but also as a human. All right, another big invite is obviously Dean Patterson. He joins his teammate and former teammate of FIU and now Georgia Tech with obviously Tampa Bay, and a great opportunity for Dean Patterson, right? Still can able to find on a role, on his Tampa Bay team. Again, it won't be easy because they have guys that they already, have on the team. Obviously Eric Rivers is going to be on there too. It's going to be a lot of competition, but if you if you're Patterson, your speed is next level. So you can find a way to carve out some kind of role on this team. But again, it's just going to come to this consistency, having good practice habits, doing it day in, day out. Again, I'm not saying he didn't have good practice habits. I'm just saying next level is going to be a little bit different. Mini camp, you're going to have to show out from the start. There is no wait around, play games. No, you got to be able to show out from the start. So another great opportunity for Dean Patterson. But overall, y'all, I think this was a very successful draft for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, despite some guys not getting drafted, going undrafted and signing with teams. I think there's great opportunities for a lot of these players, like a Jamal Haynes, like a Eric Rivers, like an Amari Harvey, and they can go in and potentially find roles and get on NFL rosters for some time. And they got 2 players drafted, some of their best players the past 2 years. That was kind of just a big part of their success. So great to see. And now Coach Key has multiple examples he can show guys get into the league from Georgia Tech with him as the head coach. So it's only up from here. I expect them to have way more next year. I think this is a great telltale sign for the program.